Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap and welcome to the success story session. So today in today's session we have with us Mr. Iman who has cleared the PFRDA Grade A 2022 and he has a very different story to tell. He has a very different strategy to tell, and let me tell you that he is from a very unique background, coming from the Bengali honors and coming from the Bengali literature kind of educational qualification. He was able to clear the PFRDA Grade A from the general category. So you can understand that how, like, whichever background you are from, you will be able to clear the examination for whichever you are preparing if you have the clear strategy, if you have that kind of motivation. So he has a very unique strategy, I can say, and we will understand from him that what was his strategy and what was his idea, that how he came in this area of preparation. So first of all, heartiest congratulations to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
So now coming to the educational background, so can you tell a little about that to the students?
Yes, ma'am. I actually did my Bengali honors for graduation from Jadavpur University. Then I went on to do masters in Bengali literature from Jadavpur University, and I passed from there in 2013. And then after that, from there on, I actually gave SBI PO in 2015. These are the only success points, but there are many failure points. I actually gave IBPS clerk, IBPS PO, and I failed it in both of them. Then SBI PO cracked. I cracked. After that, I joined the State Bank of India. I worked there for 5-6 years. In the meantime, 2018 SSC CGL, I appeared. I got selected in the post of Assistant Audit Officer in Indian Audit and Accounts Department. I joined this service in 2021. And also in this phase, I failed many times. Like in 2018, I failed in RBI Grade B, RBI. Then after 2021, I failed in SEBI Grade A. Then finally, PFRDA.
So, like, coming from the Bengali literature and such a subject that is like the language, coming from there to costing, commerce, accounts, and economics, finance, pension, and such, like, huge subjects, different subjects. So, what was the motivation behind preparing for SEBI or PFRDA?
Actually, madam, when I joined State Bank of India, after work, especially in the phase of demonetization, suddenly I thought that I can work in a little bigger scale because I was interacting, I was handling people, and there was actually very hard time it was for everyone. So then I thought, yes, I can join a little work in a bigger tier. So for bigger tier, I thought I can. Then only my mind came RBI, and only from that time, 2016-17, the RBI Grade B came to notice of everyone. So I started to shift to the RBI Grade B preparation. I was just starting to learn these things, this little technical things. RBI, although RBI Grade B is not completely technical, but just I was just moving from State Bank, and also the training period in the provision that bank gives us, that is also helpful. That actually opened my mind in this matter also. After that, I tried in RBI Grade B. I didn't. I actually cracked the interview, but I failed in the interview 2018. Then after that, I didn't have too much time to prepare, and I was not able to appear. But that idea of getting into a regulatory body, it was always there. I wanted to work in that, and I thought that being from a social science background, and I have a knack for regulatory body, and I can contribute to, because it will bring into the table a little extra dimension for the regulatory body also. So I kept the idea was always there. And but in 2021, I shifted to SEBI, because the RBI Grade B was too much dynamic. Because with work, it was very hard to handle, because you have to prepare in, actually you have to prepare in last 2-3 months. The GA section is so huge. So when I saw the SEBI syllabus, I actually filled form in 2018 also, but I backed out because of its technical nature. But in 2021, I thought, no, let's give a try. Give it a try. I thought I have cognitive ability still left in me. So let's give it a try. And it is a next static nature. The syllabus of SEBI is static nature. I can avoid GA because I cannot give every month, every day for my reading. I can plan better in this thing. So I planned for the SEBI, and when I got into the subject, actually I purchased a material from EduTap, SEBI code, and it was extensive and it was quite good for a beginner in this. It was quite explanatory. So from there on, I gathered knowledge and I started to understand. In SEBI phase 2, I scored 62.5. I was called for the interview, not selected. And then when PFRDA came, it was actually just building on that preparation. I had notes prepared, so I had to build on that.
But like you are the perfect example of someone, we can say, like coming from whichever background, you can crack whichever exam you want to crack if you have that dedication and the clarity of mind. Because here I can see that you have that clarity of mind that okay, this is my strength and I can do this. And dynamic, I do not want to go in the dynamic kind of exam, and this is static, this is what I can do. So this is the clarity of mind that you need, that regarding your strengths and the weaknesses, that you have to be very clear about that, as well as whichever, like usually the queries that come, that I am from social science background, I am from IIT background, they just back out from the SEBI because they have to compete with this chartered accountants, they have to compete with the company secretaries, and from the commerce background students also. So it seems quite tough that how I will be able to do this. They have studied CAs, they have studied like the same subjects for 5 years. So how I, from like no background, how I will be able to clear it? So was this in your mind also? Because I know that this is a big query in the minds of the students.
Actually, but it was not in my mind because it was not in my mind because I knew that in any subject, if you are serious, if you are putting in effort, you develop a special cognitive ability, and you, yes, obviously you don't have the experience of a CA. They are much more technical, but I don't think regulatory bodies, they do go in depth, but they are not. If they are publishing a notification for general stream, they are not going only for CS. There is already scope for it. So the design is designed. The examination is already designed for it. Yes, you have to work little harder, not little, quite a little harder than them. But you also have a different perspective of the subject. When you are teaching me economy, already someone, a graduate from economy, will take the subject in another angle, and I will take in a different angle. So I have my certain knowledge about my subject, which will inculcate in this learning also, and it actually helps. And I have never found in studying in any new subject. Actually, we do study lots of new subjects. We just do not recognize it. So in learning is never a problem for anyone. It's not for me. Learning is not a problem for anyone if one is uh, serious and motivated to
That is
get the
true.
motivation. That
Yes, if even if you are giving any examination, like for example, IBPSP or something, you are studying quant. In quant also, you are studying different aspects of quant. For the reasoning also, so you are studying the different subjects. You just don't recognize because that is the day to day. That okay, quant to मैंने कर ही रखा है. So that is the same idea that when you are attempting a new subject, that you have to just focus on that. इतने subjects जब कर लिए हैं तो एक और कर पाऊंगा मैं. That much mental ability I have. So yes, that is really good. That especially the social science, like IIT students usually, the BTech students, they have this clarity. हाँ मैं कुछ भी पढ़ सकता हूँ. But the social science students, they have this assumption, we can say, or afraid. They are quite afraid that नया subject कैसे हो पाएगा, especially technical subject कैसे हो पाएगा. So they can do it. They have that much mental strength, but they are quite afraid. So you
I
are the perfect example, and I'm so happy that you are sitting here and connecting with the students so that they have the clarity of mind, whichever background you have and you are from, you can clear it if you are dedicated enough.
Ma'am, actually, it's a kind of social taboo that whoever reads and learns social science somehow little bit less capable of other things. But it is not. I want to assure my social science fraternity that it is not.
True. So I'm happy for that because I'm also from the social science background, and I'm happy that our people are coming forward and doing great things to show that yes, means from whichever background you are, you can crack the examination. Okay. So I think now we can move forward and let's talk about the strategy so that the students are able to get the strategy also. So now the strategy from you will be very unique and new because if the CA background students, they already have the notes and such, but you had nothing. So like a plain slate we had and you filled with that. So how you were able to do that? So we will build on that. So we will try to understand on that. So starting with the phase one, the paper one. So it has GA, quant, reasoning, English. Usually students have this perception, I get the calls that GA kaise hoga. So is it necessary when you are good in the other three subjects?
In For SEBI and PFRDA, I actually didn't prepare for G.
Hmm.
I was quite confident about English, math, uh, and another thing I would like to add, ma'am, on the strategy part, that the skill of examination, giving examination. I'm actually giving examination for last 8 to 10 years. I have failed in many.
Hmm.
So the mock test actually helps. If someone gives proper mock test, it actually helps. We will come to that later also. So in part one, phase one, I actually skipped the part GA, and I thought that that dynamic part must be skipped because I knew that phase two syllabus preparation
Hmm.
must be done before phase one.
Yes.
Because for me, it was impossible that after phase one, if I go to phase,
Hmm.
there was no point in giving phase one for me.
Hmm.
Uh, so I prepared for phase two proper, and I left phase one. I just kept mocks because
Hmm.
I my English is mm, above average. I can score.
Hmm.
I am confident that I can score reasonable number in English and also in quant.
Hmm.
So I left that, and I assured that to get the extra mark, to
Hmm.
cross the 40% barrier that SEBI puts, I can score. If I can score in phase one, paper two,
Hmm.
about 60 marks,
Hmm.
then I can assure myself that I am ready. I'm on the way to the readiness of to phase two, also phase two,
Hmm.
and I'm also clearing the phase one. So I for that also I chalked out that which areas I can target. I had read management. I had an idea of management because of the state bank. So I targeted management. I targeted companies law. I left out some parts of I had idea of financial market of India. But for accounts, I left some parts because it was little tricky to understand and grab it in the fast reading, like in accounting standards and this thing. So I left those parts for phase two, and I targeted that 55 to 60 marks zone for SEBI for phase. For PFRDA phase one, if I tell you, madam, because I would like to give more emphasis on SEBI preparation because after that it was just division for PFRD, just adding
Yes.
pension sector. So if I talk about PFRD, it would be little
Huh.
ambiguous for everything. SEBI was the thing that I actually scored
Huh.
52.5. That was the building block for me.
Huh. True.
So for SEBI on that year, I targeted that I need to score 55 to 60 in that zone for phase one. And I calculated that 6 and 7 questions can come from here, can come from all the subjects have to be covered by examiner. So I give more effort to companies law. It is easier to score. It is in I gave more effort to management. It is
Hmm.
easier to score.
Hmm.
I gave quite a bit effort in economy, giving letting some parts out like ISLM and these little things out. And on gross, I prepared economics. So that got me the number,
Hmm.
and I completely managed cut out the GA section because I knew that GA section will take lot of time out of me. I will not be able to manage time, and
Hmm.
GA section will not give me anything in the phase two also.
Yes. So we can say that for the phase one, you focused on your strengths in the paper one. So you were focusing on the three subjects and just leaving out the GA. So the students should focus on their strengths and just leave out the weakness. And GA is very dynamic. Like you continue studying, but the question will come from it or not. come from it. So it is not in your hands. So GA is something that SEBI students, they can leave. If they are preparing for RBI, then they have the knowledge, then they can continue with it. Otherwise, they shouldn't be taking their hands into that. Now coming to the paper 2, as you said that you focused on what you already know and you were building on that. Okay, I have the basic knowledge, because we are working in an economy, we are you are working in any industry, you know about the economy, that okay, this is happening, okay, this is that. So you have the basic idea, you can build on that. Like you had the idea of the management or the financial markets or a brief about the economics also. So you built on that and you were able to cover at least some of the basic areas to build on the other areas also. So that was the for the phase 1, we can say, for the SEBI when you started the preparation. Now let's talk about a little about your sources, that what were your sources and how many sources you followed.
Actually, I narrowed down my source to edit for saving because I over the years I learned one thing, that you need to narrow down your sources. You can't read everything. You can't purchase every course in offer. And I have experience with EduTap from 2017. So 2000, I was giving RBI Grade B preparation. So then I only purchased EduTap. Back then, it was the material was not this extensive. I felt that after giving RBI Grade B, that if there was more material in management, more ideas was there, I could have scored more. But over the years, nowadays, EduTap material is very expensive. Actually, for EPF also, I was, because the result was not coming out and it was delaying. I was planning for EPF also. So for that, I have some colleagues with me who are also thinking about giving any exam. So they were asking me which material can we go for. So I told them that I do not have any experience with civil services. Civil services, they also giving courses for EPFO, and I recommended them in EduTap because I have experience that sometimes people say that the EduTap material is too expensive to cover. But yes, might be. If you know something, you can say that. But for a beginner, it is very expensive, and it is, if you cover it properly, then you can rest assured that you are covering 90%. For a regulatory body examination, you will never be able to cover 100%. I don't think examiner also can cover 100% if he is giving exam, because it is so much dynamic, so much from every angle you are tested. So I concentrated on it. That the videos I used for brushing up the concept, building the concept, I gave mocks only. For mocks, I use different sources, because from one material, if someone is making questions, formatting questions, it is one dimension. If I'm asked with from different perspectives, different institutions' perspectives, it can actually enrich your preparation. So I use different mocks currently available in the market, and prepared own notes. I actually try to prepare from videos own notes, because it is very important, because for before examination we are able, we are we contain very few contents that we can memorize. We do not get to memorize everything. So you have to make notes in your way. Maybe some notes we have seen that our aspirants make, that is beautiful, but you don't have to make beautiful notes. It may be scratchy, but you have to understand. It should be your note. So make your note from any institution, any reference you are referring. If you are going for chartered accountant materials that you can get from website, make your own notes. Be comfortable with. You have to be comfortable with your notes. You can't put everything in your notes, and you can't also leave everything out. So you have to balance it out. You have a crisp and clear note, and you can revise on. This is my
Yes.
overall.
So we can say that you followed one major source, and that was EduTap, and you built on, like you were giving the mocks from different sources, because you have to practice a lot of MCQs. So you were giving many mocks to understand that what other dimensions the question can come, and from the preparation that you were doing from EduTap, you were able to cover that. So I think that the students, they follow too many sources and they get stuck in one concept. So they shouldn't be doing that. They should have a major source and they can substantiate it with the other complementary sources or sources, we can say. So now I think we have discussed about the sources. Now coming to the phase two. For the phase one, did you watch any marathons, or were you watching YouTube sessions also, or you were only focusing on the material, course material?
For phase one, I didn't go in for marathon because for phase one, it was actually there was too much to learn for me
Hmm.
because I didn't have time to go for into marathon because it was like this because I'm a working aspirant. If I lose 2 hours in a marathon session, because marathon
Hmm.
sessions tend to sometimes it is a live session, it tends
Hmm.
to have some other sentences also. So if I lose 2 hours, I will
Hmm.
probably lose a session for me.
Hmm.
And if I lose a session for me, I will be leaving 2 marks from the examination for preparation. So I was because I was in that situation that
Hmm.
I'm learning everything afresh.
Okay.
I was not able to go into the marathon.
Okay.
But in phase two, I did use it. And if we are going into the phase two preparation, if I continue
Okay.
for phase, yes, ma'am.
So we can say, like, summarizing your statement. So we can say that if you are not prepared extensively, you have not prepared the complete course. So you should first focus on your material, because in the phase one you only need 40% or 30%, and in that phase you do not need to watch the marathons as such if you think that you have too much left. But for phase two, now you will be telling us more. So phase two, let's start with the six subjects first, and yes, please continue.
So for first accountancy, my material was same. I did make few notes. After phase one, we generally tend to lose a little momentum after phase one. We generally do for 5 7 days. We tend to think it may happen, it might not happen, so we lose momentum. But I knew that if I lose momentum in this phase, I will because everyone is so ahead of me. I will never will be able to catch them. So what I did is that I went back to the videos and I started watching and I checked it with my knowledge that did I know it? Did I have this concept in my force in my mind? And I said that no, that I was not actually in very good shape. But the concept eh, with revised videos with the concept again emerged. And from there on, I make amendments to my notes and I continue. I did 15 20 days. I amended my notes and gave this kind of research time to myself. It was actually I was also not sure about. I am talking about the SEBI preparation part.
Hmm.
I will come to PFRD. I was also not sure that I'm wasting so much time in research and this. Maybe I'm losing it. But I had a belief that I'm not going too far out of the syllabus. I'm just building where I'm lagging.
Hmm.
So I did that. And then on onward, I made proper schedule. I actually do maintain it, and I would advise I cannot. There is no advice, general advice, but I do like to make a proposal to every aspirant that please make a proper calendar.
Hmm.
That how many hours are you putting? We generalize time. Time is a very fleeting concept. We generalize time. We think that okay, we are doing 2 hours in the morning, but please make proper concise calendar and please put classes sessions into it. That from 6:30 to 7:30 I am doing economics like this. So in that sessions I planned properly that this is my time in hand and up to this I can reach. I had a very clear idea because I was giving mocks very serious. This is also very important because in account, suppose in accountancy there are few things that was actually hard for me to grasp, and I was actually surprised also in examination. Like in Indian accounting standards, in SEBI actually asked 2 3 numericals from Indian accounting standards. I never thought that they would ask because it is so new to me. I thought it is a very hard subject, so they will not be so cruel to ask numericals from it. But when I went there, I saw yes, there is numericals from Indian accounting. For accountancy, I did this. I researched first, and then I went on to just revise. I had to revise a lot for accounting. For economics, I had some brief idea, like we all have. We all are masters of economics everywhere. So we had, I was that kind of a master of economics, but
Hmm.
for technical terms, for proper learning of economics, I again went back to videos and some YouTube uh, videos that EduTap ran and some other channels also ran before phase one, and those questions I picked up. And I seen that no, I was not able. I had no clue about many questions.
Hmm.
I had just 2 months of time, and I had no clue about multiple questions. Even ma'am, you also asked me multiple questions that I had no clue about in the beginning of the phase. So I went back again. I went back again and designed again. I that particular part where I'm lagging, I went to watch those videos again, made notes where it was lagging, and then uh, designed it. That way. For these two subjects, I calculated something 16 to 18 questions are coming. I calculated this and I made a target to score. I didn't wanted to score full marks out of this section because I knew I would not be able to. And if I go for full marks in this question, the easier parts I will lose marks. So I didn't do that. I thought 60-70% in these two parts will, that is the highest I can reach in this time. So I left it there. And in little easier sections like management, like companies law, I gave extensive time because I knew I can score high, I can score full marks in this section. So I gave my full effort and tried to score that full mark. Yes, I can lose 1-2%, that is another matter, but I tried to score full. In the section of finance, I knew that there can be 1-2 question that can be dynamic in it.
Hmm.
So I was a little in dilemma that what should I do? Should I go for affairs, current affairs revision for last 3 months? The sessions that you run, other channels also run that RBI notification, SEBI notification.
Hmm.
First, I started preparing for that. I started watching that. Then I saw that this is a huge material. For two numbers, I cannot do that, and there is no point in doing. So I left that. So overall, I was aiming for 65, 70 marks after every thing I calculated. And I thought if I'm going for 70 marks or 65 marks, I need to be 95% sure of. And I made sure that that happened. And this was the for study. And in for PFRDA, when the notification came, when I started preparing, I thought this subject that was so hard in SEBI. I thought this accounting standard is not for art, it is for math. It is not that hard because I'm reading again. I have a pre-concept. I have little understanding of it, and I also again I want to place on it that because I am a social science student, I have a idea of social connotation of nothing is out of the social connotation. So there is implication of this, why it
Hmm.
comes, and I can make a logic chain out of it.
Hmm.
And when I can make a logic chain out of it, now I can think about okay, now I can do quant from this. If they are asking on which basis they are asking, I'm little grasping that. And for pension sector, it added on pension sector. For pension sector, I had used a different material other than EduTap, and it was also very quick, very good material. I used that, and I knew that this sector is also very scoring. Many people I was seeing that actually PFRDA came just before SEBI. There was a news rumor that SEBI is coming, SEBI is coming. So people were actually preparing for SEBI.
Hmm.
I was also actually preparing for SEBI and thought that okay, PFRDA came with 15, 20 vacancies. It is very hard to imagine that I will get over that line. So let's prepare for this, and it will also work for me instead. Everyone is going like that, and I seen many people, many candidates leaving pension sector alone. And I when they were leaving pension sector alone, I thought no, this can also be my strong point because many
Hmm.
people are actually leaving pension sector, so I can score high also here. So I actually did that, and in for PFRDA, after 15 days of this amazing feeling that everything is very easy, then I realized no, I have to score more than 75.
Hmm.
Otherwise, there is no chance for me. So I uh, left everything and went back to the that mode where I what if I practiced before SEBI
Hmm.
phase. And I did multiple time practice. I gave multiple examinations, multiple mocks very seriously, and at the end of the preparation for last 7 days, I was seeing that my mock ranking was coming to 3, 4, 5
Hmm.
within 10. So I gained confidence from that. This is the whole journey of this.
So we can summarize it like during the SEBI preparation, you were focusing on your strengths. You knew that which is your strength areas and weak areas. So in accounting and economics, we can say you were leaving some of the parts because you knew that too much of the, especially after phase two, like phase one, there is too less time for the phase two. So you were leaving some parts in which you knew that it will take a lot of time and it is not that much required from the examination point of view कि इतना नहीं आएगा इससे. And in this PFRDA, you again focused on the major part, like the students that were not focusing on pension sector. So you knew that it is PFRDA exam questions will be coming in the phase two from that majorly. So you focused on that area. So in the examination, you have to build that kind of understanding that okay, I can leave this part and I have to do this part and majorly focus on which areas. So this is how you can see the PYQs also. You can analyze your own strengths and weaknesses and then you can build on that. Otherwise you will be in a uh, race and you will be going nowhere if you just try to cram everything and go on with nothing. So I think now we can move on with the English segment descriptive, and anything that you want to add from paper 2 in the paper 2 segment.
For English descriptive, actually, that is the little easier section for me. I know that I can summarize a concept in paper in writing little easily.
Mm.
But for that also I gave continuous mock for PFRD and I took good feedback from them also.
Mm.
And English descriptive is always have been little scoring for. So I actually did not give too much time, but
Mm.
also did not left it completely for the examination. I gave in between. I continuously gave mocks to familiarize myself in the examination environment, and that's it. Not much more than that for descriptive.
And for phase 2 you were seeing the YouTube sessions or you were focusing on the source only?
No, no. For phase two, I have I have watched YouTube sessions, and but not all. The sessions which I am not able to cover properly, I have used in two ways YouTube sessions. Some uh, some sessions I use that probably I am missing out on a topic if there is a
Mm.
session for that. So it might give me one number in the examination. And for some sessions that if my understanding, I am not completely fathoming that how much I understand. So
Mm.
I went to YouTube sessions and I checked that. And I can say that, ma'am, from SEBI phase 2 preparation to PFRDS phase 2 preparation, I was actually gaining confidence because I was now understanding the questions. Okay, from here it is coming.
Mm.
So this development happened. And
Okay.
used it selective, not all, because it is time consuming also, because we are on a clock. We can't use too much time everywhere.
Okay. So now I think we can move with the interview part. Anything that you want to add? Like, especially you were starting from the scratch. So anything that you want to tell to the aspirants that are starting these subjects like costing, commerce accounts, finance management, they are starting this from scratch. So anything that you want to convey to them?
The first thing is that pick your educator. You have to pick your educator. There are lots of educators in the market. There is so much sources nowadays, because I remember giving on the State Bank provisionary examination days, there was not this much resource was in market. Now there is so much resources in the market, but you have to feel comfortable with the educator and the resource also. If you are starting from, if you know something, then you can learn, uh, add on from any. So pick that, be comfortable with it, and go for the PYQ. See, try to understand how much the subject is demanding from. That is very important. How much you have to give it. Then try to give a mock or two. Just you have to actually build on every 7 days. You have to check the every 7 days how much I'm building. Is I'm going the right way? You have to understand the subject overall. That do I have a conceptual grasp? Because you can't only go for MCQ. I have seen some aspirants of mine who go for only MCQ. That is very dangerous for a newcomer also. If you know if you have a strong base, that is a good, maybe a good strategy. But for a newcomer, going with MCQ, one very minute word can be changed by the examiner and the whole answer changes.
Yes.
So there is no point in going for MCQ. You have to understand the thing, and you have to be with it for 2 3 months content. And so if you have to build an interest to the subject. To
Mm.
build the interest on the subject, you have to connect it with your academic, because you probably you would have chosen your academics as your it was not pressurized on. I'm taking this freedom that it was not pressurized on you, and you like your academical background, so you have to link it there. If you're not able to gain interest on the subject, you will not be able to sustain for 3 months, because you have to give 6 hours, 8 hours every day, and it is
Mm.
actually quite heavy work, quite heavy lifting you have to do. So you have to get accustomed, get a clear depth of the how much it is dealing or demanding from you, and then you have to make some interest on the subject. In costing also, in costing, I left. I I was not talking about the costing. I forgot about it. Costing also, there is some part is very easy,
Mm.
some part is hard. So you have to
Yes.
plan that. You have to, for a newcomer, you have to think that how much I'm going to score. You have to plan properly. This is a kind of, this is like a run sheet. If I have to put it in a popular way, this is a kind of run chase, like a super chaser chases. When he plans that I have to hit this bowler, I have to leave this bowler. This is a kind of thing. So you have to do that according to your strength.
True. Now, one point that I remember that in 2021 you started preparing for SEBI, and you had joined in that year. You had joined as assistant audit officer, right? Uh, you have cleared the SSC CG also. So you were working as well as you were preparing. So how you were able to give the time for the new subjects? Because in SEBI you had the 6 new subjects. So can you explain on that?
Actually, for study, I didn't have 6 new subjects. Management, I knew.
Mm.
And economics, I half knew. So we can say that 4.5 new subjects. So, uh, actually, in Indian Audit and Accounts Department, we actually do audit to check the executive's work.
Mm.
We do check that the executive is doing proper work with the, and we report it to the legislature. The nature of the work demands brain work, but it doesn't run on a very strict timeline,
Mm.
because it can't run on the very strict timeline, because we have to go in the very depth of things, very depth of files, very depth of technical things. That is also another matter, that we don't have, the Indian Audit and Accounts officers don't have expertise on all the technical things engineers does. But we do both get into the files, and we do bring very good observations also.
Mm.
So for that, I had time in the morning and in the evening. So I had to let go my other uh, associations. Like, I generally like to. I have a tendency of overweight, so I generally go for a run at some other exercise. I do like to play cricket. I had to let all go for. Then I had to stop everything for these 3 4 months. I was actually getting up by 4 a.m. uh, I had to, because in college days, we used to think that night is the best time to study, but with age, we understood that I understand that now, no, night doesn't work that way. For me, at least, it doesn't work that way. If we can put a good work in the morning, it tends to give better result. So I had to actually, you have to make sacrifice. Overall, if I concise the matter, if you have to make sacrifice in your own way, everyone has his
Mm.
own challenges. You have to make sacrifice in your own way. You have to make sacrifice in your own way. Hello.
Yeah, it's back.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I was talking that there is no way, there is no shortcut of hard working for anything, not for
Mhm.
only any examination. There is no shortcut. So you have to work hard. You have to know your target. Not working hard without knowing your target, without knowing your path. You have to know your path. You have to
Mm.
know your target, but work hard and make. You have to make sacrifice. Simple as
True.
that. There is no way around.
So for the working experience also, yes, it is a struggleful life, we can say, but it is the struggle for like time period, like 3 months, 6 months. After that, you need to have that vision and mission to, and if you focus on that, you will be able to get the time and you will be able to do the hard work that you need to do for the examination. So that is also a good strategy that you have told regarding the new subjects, as well as that the time you have to, there is time crunch, but you have to make sacrifices if you want to become the officer, if you want to go to the that officer rank. So now I think we can move forward with the interview part. So how was the panel, how was the interview?
I actually again we'll go back to the SEBI interview. I scored in SEBI 3 out of 15 in my SEBI interview.
Okay.
I was not after interview and not even now I do not understand where I lacked, but somewhere I lacked. Many people told me that no, somehow they favor someone. They do not favor your subject. They do not They do not want to take someone from this background. What will they do with you? But I thought I again stick to my argument that no, if I'm giving these examinations, I don't know if there is any foul play and that. I cannot advocate for that. But if I'm giving these examinations, so I will have to believe in the system. So this is a fair practice. Everyone is treated fairly, whatever is their background and from where it's coming. But somehow I was not able to perform. So from PFRD, still PFRD interview marks are not out, so I can tell how did my interview went. I also thought my SEBI interview also was fair enough, but I don't know. But in PFRD also, in probably I can say this at least that in if you're going for interview, you are preparing for interview. Three things you have to know. One is the organization, two is about yourself, and three is why they should take you in. So for that, I seen a YouTube video of another educator that it was actually very helpful. So he was saying that you should make 100 and 120, 200 questions for yourself from the angle of the employer. That why should he took you in? He take you in. Why should he hire you? Uh, Actually, it helped me in PFRD. I actually skipped in the study this part. Again these things happen that after examination we do lose motivation, we do lag in the preparation. I was also for study I was also in a training period that was actually I had very little time for prepare in the study interview part, but this time around I had a little more time, so I was thorough with the probable questions. I was because it is a very hard question to defend. Why are you coming to a regulator after 7 8 years? What are you doing for 7 8? What were you doing for 7 8 years? Why you suddenly thought of it? It is very hard to make them believe that I genuinely wanted to work there, and it is not just the salary slip that I want. I wanted to expand my mind because if you say that you want to expand little bit more work, you want to work in a bigger scale, they will ask is because I belong to such prestigious organization. I've worked in this such prestigious organization. They are are they not good enough for you? So this is a little tricky in
Yeah.
interviews. You have to convince them. You actually have to convince yourself that why are you going. If you can convince yourself, then probably I don't know the numbers yet, but probably they observe that.
Hmm.
They understand, okay, he's coming for that, this one.
How was the questions, if you can tell some?
The questions were this time around for SEBI interview, it was mostly about banking, my banking experience. This time around, it was mostly about audit. There are technical questions like what is the difference between audit and inspection, what
Hmm.
we do. There are multiple technical I will not go into that. There are multiple technical aspects of audit, and
Okay.
they were asking me those things, and there was this question that why you have came after 8 years.
Hmm.
I told them, sir, because PFRDA was not recruiting. But I actually I actually believe that I told you, ma'am, earlier that I was actually from my demonetization time I was thinking about getting into a regulatory body.
Hmm.
I didn't prepare for generally a social science student if wants to give a bigger examination, it goes for the civil
UPSC.
services.
Yeah.
Yeah, civil services examination. But I didn't go in for that. I wanted to be in a regulatory because I thought that yes, I if I overall my knowledge in social science and this finance, economics, and this section, if these two knowledges culminate, I will be a better person at the age of 45. So I was able to tell them that I don't know about the result, but yes.
So how are the HR questions? Like there were technical questions from your background, from your job. How are the HR questions? If you can tell a little, other than this 8 years, I guess.
Major questions are generally of your place, sometimes your subject, sometimes
Hmm.
not in PFRDA, but I do remember in IBPS clerk, there used to be interview for IBPS clerk examination. I don't know if now still happens or not, but in 2013-14 it was used to be an interview, and I was asked about a Rabindranath Tagore uh, song's name, the first wordings of the songs, and I was not able to remember, and I was trust in the interview that you have done your masters in Bengali and you are not able to remember wordings of a song. So it is actually about you. Your whatever you are writing in your biodata form, they give it. So when you are making that biodata form, you are putting in any information, please do not fake it. Make whatever the resources are within you, make a better presentation.
Hmm. True.
But that doesn't do not take any information because question can come from anywhere, and
Hmm.
there are 5 members sitting there, so they someone might have expertise in something that
Hmm.
you have said that I know this, but he also or she also knows that better than you, and you are trapped. Then I don't think interview panel like anyone if they can find that there is dishonesty.
True. And now coming to the website, had you read the website before going for the interview, the PFRDA website?
Absolutely, it is the fundamental. You have
Okay.
to go to the regulatory body website
Hmm.
thoroughly. You have to understand the job because that I said that 120 1 to 100 and 120 questions you have to make from the angle of the employer.
Hmm.
Why they are recruiting? You have
Hmm.
to know your job. This is very important. You have to
True.
know why you are going. So
Hmm.
what they do, you have to
Hmm.
clearly know about it. There is no way. There is not no enough point that okay, well, up to this point reading our website is good enough.
Hmm.
Whatever you can read, I
Hmm.
actually read their bulletins, their magazines, and I
Hmm.
actually found some very interesting articles also in there, which I could refer in the interview.
Okay. So any particular question that came from the website or from the pension sector?
Not from the pension sector, but not from the website. They were more into my technical audit
Okay.
things. But I, while answering such things, I was able to pull up some data and pull up some information, pull up some ideas from their website, magazines, and that is actually
Hmm.
important. I think.
Okay. So I can understand that it would have been an interesting interview. And now, like before ending the interview, before going towards the end, any message for the aspirants?
Actually, I do have a message. Actually, I am a fraternity also from the failure group. I don't want to see it as a success circle because uh, if there is 100 students, 100 applicants come to the government competitive examination, 95 of are we fail. So you have to make one thing sure that you are not only seeing the salary. It is because you have to work in that institution for 30 years. And we as humans, we do not work well individually. When we collaborate, we work well. That is the simple idea. So you have to put in aspect, yes, obviously, survival will be there. We all work for the survival. But you have to put in aspect that there is some social aspect of. we are collaborating, you can add something into that examination. If you don't think that you cannot add something to that organization, please do not go there, because you probably will not succeed, and that will make a vicious cycle of frustration, and you will also not able to switch to other jobs. You will not do good with your potential, which you could have marked.
So
So
that
that
is
is
a
it. Thank
that
you.
was a really interesting interview, and I have also understood many things from you. And I know that the aspirants must learn a lot from you. Coming from any background that you are from, you can succeed if you have that kind of passion, dedication, and the continuous efforts that you need to put in. So even if you are the working aspirant, so like you are the perfect example of so many things. Like working aspirant, still you tried something new, the new subjects. And coming from the social science background, usually the people have the fear that they will not be able to succeed in the technical subjects. Still you were able to do that, as well as like coming from some literature language or something like that, that is new. Like for me also, I'm for the first time I'm taking the interview of someone that is from a particular language, and they gave not RBI grade B, but cleared in SEBI like examination, like PFRDA grade A. So that is quite new to for the aspirants also, and they must learn a lot from you. Your strategies were also very good, and they were quite comprehensive. So I hope that the new aspirants, especially that are like coming in this race for the first time, they will be able to learn a lot from you. Thank you so much for coming, Iman.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.